as we hear from brilliant young minds who are not only exploring science but also reshaping its possibilities. Thank you for joining us, and we promise that this will be a thought-provoking and enriching session.
Our Gear Cups, you are not just the future of science, you are the present voice of change. At Gear, we deeply value and nurture the spirit of scientific curiosity, perseverance, and innovation. We are proud to celebrate our students' relentless pursuit of knowledge. Their drive not only leads to progress, but also ignites inspiration across our learning community.
The Mini Nobel Laureate Award was instituted to honor emerging scientific minds within our school. This award draws its inspiration from Eric Allen Kernel, the American physicist who, along with Carl E. Woman, had first achieved Bose-Einstein's condensate in 1995, a discovery that earned them Nobel Prize in Physics in 2001. Our chairman, Dr. N. Srinivasan sir, had privilege to meet Dr. Kernel, a fellow gear parent, and was inspired to initiate the award with a vision to cultivate Nobel-worthy thinking in our young learners.
It is a privilege to introduce our guest of honor and esteemed panelist, Dr. Chakshusmathi Ghadiyaram. Dr. Ghadiyaram completed her bachelor's and master's degree in Hyderabad before moving to Bangalore to pursue a PhD in molecular biophysics at the prestigious Indian Institute of Science. With over 5 research publications during her doctoral work, she continued her academic journey with postdoctoral research at Yale University, USA. She brings with her extensive expertise in protein engineering, high throughput variant screening, and the development of recombinant protein-based vaccines for industrial and healthcare applications. Dr. Ghadiyaram has contributed to leading biotech companies such as Origin Discovery Technologies and Novozymes South Asia Private Limited. Currently, she leads the preclinical research and development team at Minvax Private Limited, a promising biotech startup dedicated to next-generation vaccine development. We are privileged to have her with us today to share her insights and inspire our young innovators. Welcome, ma'am.
Now, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to our chairman, Dr. M. Srinivasan sir, our principal ma'am, Ms. Nandini Bhatt, MM coordinator, Ms. Sudeshna Maiti, Savi ma'am, and senior science mentor, Ms. Ashmi Gupta, as well as all my fellow mentors. As we honor to our Dr. Chakshusmathi Ghadiyaram as our external judge for today's session, joining her on the panel, our internal judges, Ms. Sudeshna Maiti and Ms. Nashmi Gupta. Your presence, insights, and experience will surely add great depth and value to today's discussion. Now, let me introduce the winner of last year's Mini Nobel Laureate Award, Deepal Mahajan from Great Club. Deepal, warmly welcome you to share your experience and join the panel.
You can take that mic.
Namaste everyone. As ma'am introduced me, I'm Deepal Mahajan and I was a participant in MNL last year. And as a participant, I can say with full confidence and with all my heart that it is competitions like MNL that truly understand and appreciate the subject of science. Because many of us reduce it to just memorizing complicated formulas or reading fat books that we barely understand. But the true essence of science lies in questioning, in sort of challenging rather than blindly accepting what is being told to us. So, and with each round of MNL, the participants are forced to go deeper and deeper into the subjects and the fields that they have chosen. So regardless of the outcome of today's event, it is these values of like curiosity and like acting upon that curiosity that will stay for us for a very long time, and it is what truly marks a scientist. Thank you.
With that, let us begin this year's much-awaited session. We are proud to introduce our 9 exceptional panelists from grades 9 to 12, each of whom have successfully cleared the rigorous preliminary rounds. These included Round 1, the questionnaire round carrying 20% weightage, and Round 2, the project presentation carrying 40% weightage. The final 40% will be based on their performance in the ongoing panel discussion. To all our panelists, you are here today because of your unique qualities, your drive to explore, and your unwavering curiosity. This platform is a celebration of your potential. As we call out your names, please come forward, introduce yourselves briefly, share a quick overview of your project, and take your seat on stage.
Before moving forward, let us quickly go through the guidelines for the panel discussion. Chits will be drawn to determine the order in which panelists will answer. Each panelist will be given 30 seconds to think and organize thoughts after the question is posed. You will then have 1 minute to present your responses. A bell will indicate that at the end of 1 minute, after which 10-15 seconds buffer will be allowed to conclude. Okay. Now, I will welcome our first panelist, Manthreesh from grade 9.
Namaste everyone, I am Manthreesh and my MNL project is NeuroMirror. NeuroMirror is a neurotechnology support system built to help people with autism who often struggle with emotion recognition, social cues, and yeah.
Thank you, Manthreesh. Now, Arhan from grade 9.
Namaste everyone, my name is Arhan and my project was based on how we can integrate a gene editing technology called CRISPR and nanotechnology to mitigate genetic diseases, mainly ones involving multiple point mutations like beta thalassemia. Thank you.
Next we have Shiven from grade 10.
Namaste, my name is Shiven. My project is the IGNIS series, which is a series of model rockets designed to calculate the atmospheric data in the sky.
Now let's welcome Gauri again from grade 10.
Namaste, my name is Gauri and my project explores a unique way to combat type 1 diabetes using mechanogenetic cellular engineering. In simple terms, this means getting cells to respond to things like light and vibration. Thank you.
Thank you, Gauri. Now Avneesh from grade 11.
Namaste everyone, my name is Avneesh and the aim of my project was to hybridize metamaterials to create self-sterilizing surfaces that could improve hygiene in public places and also help create clean rooms in space stations for cheaper. It could also help reduce over 1.8 million preventable deaths that take place every year. Thank you.
Veda from grade 11.
Namaste, I am Veda from grade 11. My project in short was about how the brain concentrates and what brainwaves are produced when our brain concentrates. And so trying to find a viable situation when we can simulate these brainwaves externally in order to increase our concentration through external factors because we cannot control whatever happens inside of us. Thank you.
Kashyap from grade 11.
It's on.
Namaste, my name is Kashyap. My project was essentially about optimizing and making drone delivery systems more efficient in urban landscapes so that we can deliver important medical aid to people in need.
Now we have Rohit from grade 12.
Namaste everyone, my name is Rohit and my project is based on the magnetic levitation train, which I believe is the future of transportation. My way of innovating on this project is by placing an electromagnet inside the system of the train, which improves on the propulsion system and makes it more cost efficient and widely usable all over the world. And I believe this will be really influential and can help change this transportation system over the entire earth. Thank you.
And we have Sriansha from grade 12.
Namaste everyone, my name is Sriansha and my project was essentially using CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology to help cure AIDS.
Now, as we prepare to embark on an inspiring journey through the world of scientific exploration, I request our audience to keep their mobiles in the silent mode, please. And I humbly request our esteemed chairman, Sir, Dr. M. Srinivasan, to officially commence the panel discussion. We eagerly look forward to the noble ideas and fresh perspectives that our young thinkers will bring forth today.
Thank you.
Namaste to all of you again. Actually, this is a great day for us. Very refreshing to listen to all of you. And on an occasion like this, we can't give a chance to every one of you. So we give representation. And also, they don't just get it by lottery, they have to work hard. And we see their quality of work even in the single sentence, as well as in the projects, in the first answers. It should not discourage anybody else. It's always a question of the next chance, and it is not always the person who comes first does the best. Every one of you can do the best, but you have to always learn from the others and work with the others. Maybe next year, we will make it a little bit of a group work at one stage or the other, because right now all the three stages, it's all individual work. Do you think that will work if we make it a group work? How many of you think would have done better if it was a group? Only Gauri thinks. Okay. I think we need to learn to collaborate. Sometimes under compulsion we can't help it. That would be a positive thing, because we will not make all the 3 rounds, but at least we will see. Okay. Today's discussion, I am sure you all will carry a lot home and keep thinking about it. Don't just forget it, okay, they talked about it. Feel that you talked about it and see what you can do further on that. Okay. With that, I don't remember what edition is this.
This
More than 10.
process probably the 4th year we are having this tedious
Okay,
process.
4th year.
4th year, yeah.
But I thought it's more than 4.
No,
Is it?
more than 8 years. Yeah, more than 8 years we are having maybe Nobel Laureate. With the project round, probably 4.
Okay, project lasts 4 years, but we started about 10 years back. I'd like to start this session with a question for all of us to think, but they will answer. Okay? You can compare your answer with theirs. Done? See, man has evolved from caves to building caves in the space. Agree with me? Right now we have an example of somebody having been to space and back to the earth. I don't know where he is, but he is on the earth. Now, I want you to think about, rather reflect on what made it possible. Is it a specific invention? Is it a specific trait in the human brain? Or what happened? Please throw light on any one of the aspects which made it possible for us to stay some time in the space and then do experiments and then at least experience first. Think about it. And also, if you can add, what do you think can be done further? Okay? If you find it difficult, if you don't have the knowledge to talk about it, you let me know, I'll give you another choice. How many of you think you'll be happy to talk about it? How many of you think it will be difficult for you? Oh, very nice. Wonderful. So, we'll listen to them without much ado and then see what we can do. Okay? Thank you.
Manthreesh.
So in my opinion, I think it's the instinct of exploration in humans. So we humans, we want to explore our world. We want to go further beyond it too. I take more time to think about it.
You may not have more time to think about it. It's a competition.
And
okay, maybe you can give a chance to imitate.
Okay, so I believe that space exploration is something that humans have done that no other animal in the world has been able to do, because humans have the trait of curiosity and they learn from whatever they do. Humans evolve, and we all started off at the same level as apes who roamed around the world and started as cavemen. But then we learned from every experience that we've gone through, and we've evolved over the generations. And space exploration is something that is essential for human evolution in its essence. Because on Earth, we've already explored a lot, and there's still much more to explore, and we're just scratching the surface of exploration in the universe. And space exploration has also become a necessity at this point because of the climate change problems that we're facing, which at colonizing space could help us out. But it could also help us get a better understanding of the universe, which really helps us out. And yeah, that wraps up my point.
I think you all have to think of things very specific and speak something about something that we don't know possibly, because you all are supposed to be knowing a lot. Okay? And next point is, we are looking at more of human beings' ability rather than what is space. Okay, thank you.
Gauri.
So I believe it is the ability for humans to question is what took us from the earth to space. Because science only exists because we question why things are the way they are. And every question we have asked is essential for solving problems and taking us from the earth to space. So I believe it is the ability to question, which is what is essential.
Can you give me one example of a question?
Newton's question, very classic example of why objects are attracted to the earth, is what made us conceptualize what is gravity. So without that, we wouldn't be able to escape the earth's atmosphere. So
Shiven.
I think it's the feature of curiosity in the humans and their creativity. They always made like the invention of the wheel was a very creative one. Like an ape
primal human saw a log rolling down the hill, and he wondered if he could transport anything from that. And then he developed the wheel from that. Like that, they also developed spaceships and rockets. And I think it's also the joint collaborations between humans, like the ISS, made by a joint collaboration between US, Russia, and Japan. I think that's the
Avneesh.
Of course, going to space has been an amazing achievement for mankind. And what has brought us here from all the way back in the Stone Age is our imagination, is what I believe. The ability to think beyond what is considered orthodox and to question what everyone else believes is what has brought humankind so far. If Newton had never questioned, like Gauri said, why the apple fell on his head, or if Galileo had never questioned the, at the time, orthodox system of how planets, the sun revolved around the earth, then we would never have our laws of motion, the universal gravitational equation, or even our models, our modern system of the solar system. So it's imagination and curiosity like that that has driven humankind to build spaceships and eventually explore farther than our Earth and our planet. Something that would have been considered like impossible just a couple of decades ago. And as for where mankind is going from here, it seems only logical that we would soon colonize another planet. With recent studies showing how there's living bacteria that can survive UPV radiations, even on other planets, shows that there's possibly life on exoplanets. And already professors at the University of Beijing are working on colonizing other planets by building solar arrays so we can get renewable energy sources from space directly, which would be much more efficient than we have on Earth. Yeah.
So I think a huge part of why humans have been able to colonize space, like all my other fellow panelists said, was because we were creative and we questioned a lot. But I also think we owe a huge part of it to luck, especially when it comes to evolution. We can see in more primitive species that they now are able to recognize themselves in mirrors, and their brain is slowly evolving more. But for some reason, maybe because, like I said, pure luck, humans have been able to do that quicker than other species. Like recently, a study showed that monocyte monkeys, which diverged from humans around 33 million years ago, are just now able to have their own form of language. And I think that shows how evolution has played a huge role in the human brain and its ability to grasp knowledge.
Veda. I think everybody has put up like a very viable point, and mine is also accumulation of probably all of them. But I think it is the necessity, the way we want to excel, the way we want to go beyond everybody else. That's why I think that is what drives learning in most of us. We want to be better than the others. We want to get new, novel ideas. We want to get new stuff before everybody else. And I think that is what has driven people to continuously innovate throughout their lives. And I think this is what, this continuous innovation, along with our drive to be better than everybody else, I think this is what has started to, like, as Sriansha mentioned, start evolve quicker than the others. And I think this is what has driven a lot of the innovations, from the wheel, as Shiven mentioned, to all of the other factors everybody else mentioned, from the wheel to the Bronze Age to the current 21st century where everything is now an innovation. I think all of this has eventually driven us to explore more, and I think this is why space exploration has come up, because of our ability to question, as one of them has mentioned, the ability to question, and that's why our drive to do better, our innovation, and our ability to question what lies beyond, what more can I do. I think this is what has truly brought us closer to exploring space and exploration of our own planet further and further every day.
Kashyap.
So I feel like competition is a huge part of why we managed to get into space. After World War II, the Allied forces discovered the V-1 rockets in the German bases, and the rockets initially were the main source of, say, inspiration to build the first rockets that got us into space. But I don't think it's just that. It's also our strive to just stay alive. With the rising population and the increase in the cost of living of every person on the planet, and them demanding more, I feel like it's going to become a need for us to conquer space, to acquire these metals, to gain land, to facilitate everyone's life. Because nowadays most people, like, the quality of living has just gone up so high that I think Earth is just not big enough anymore. We need the moon, and once we acquire the moon, we'll need Mars. Once we're done with Mars, we'll go to Jupiter's moons. And I think it'll continue to grow until we say colonize the solar system. Yeah.
So my answer would be considered slightly unorthodox, but I think this can be derived from earlier ages where all organisms had like survival of the fittest and dominance and expansion. So I think these traits basically are what drive curiosity and learning, and just to be better than everyone else, you need to be at the front of the pack, right? So I think that's what drives that curiosity and learning, which is why we want to expand our domain. We've already studied the Earth, we're going into oceans, but I think we should also go into space. So I think that's what it's attributed to, that basic nature for survival.
So yeah, just like how others said, curiosity is what drives humans to explore the space. And then not just curiosity, a specific type of curiosity, which is the curiosity to explore. Unlike other animals, all their actions relate to their needs, which is only food, water, shelter. But us humans, we want to explore more, go beyond the boundaries, and learn new things, explore more.
In all your talks, you covered a lot of topics, but please understand, it is humans' insatiable, I don't want to say lust, desire to push the boundaries. This is 89, I'll make it 92. 92 will become 100. That's how we come to the space. And I want you people to think of things beyond the space. Now, may I ask ma'am to ask them any questions?
So I guess most of us are aware of the issue with COVID, right? Everybody had a major obstacle or of various kinds, right? So I want you to reflect on what has happened, why something like that has arisen, what people have done to prevent it, how can we actually do something better in case, or what are the chances of something like that again, another pandemic hitting us, how prepared are we, or what is that area that we need development?
Veda.
I think mine is a rather unwarranted answer actually, but looking to history actually, we can see that every century there was a flu in 1921, and then there was another flu in like around the 1830s. Every century we have one rather massive epidemic that wipes out a significant chunk of the population. I feel like this could possibly be Mother Nature's way of controlling our population, because she routinely sends out these viruses in the form of biological warfare in order to curb our populations, and also bring some core values to light which have been forgotten. Like, we need to constantly be on our toes. We need to understand that the impact we're having on the environment is negative. I think due to COVID, a lot of carbon emissions due to like the exhaust pipes and everything were curbed because everybody was sitting at home. Yes, it has also led to other factors like online distractions and everything, but I think it is a way for us to understand and reflect on what exactly has happened, where we went wrong, what has happened, why has this COVID arisen. It was due to some person like trying out a bat, and I think he got like a virus strain due to the bat because it was infected, and this is how the COVID started spreading because this was contagious. So I think these epidemics and pandemics regularly, every century, have really led to humans to reflect on what they're doing and how we can improve further and how we can truly curb these diseases.
Gauri. So, according to what I've read, due to our insatiable lust and our desire to understand certain behaviors of viruses and bacteria, I heard somewhere that COVID was actually a result of our experimentation. So, even though there are countless of people researching on vaccines and mitigating diseases, all of these could be prevented by simple solutions like washing your hands regularly and maintaining hygiene in our environment. So as long as we remember our, like Veda said, core values, I feel this can be mitigated by practicing hygiene and yeah. Avneesh.
So, by the time COVID had arisen, it had been almost a century since our last global pandemic. And during this time, I feel like mankind had grown sort of latent. And albeit whatever reason that COVID arose, it's not new for diseases to mutate. What changed was that COVID was contagious and it exposed a lot of chinks in our healthcare system all across the world, in all countries, where there was poor healthcare, there was not enough space or oxygen tanks, and then even the development of the vaccine was very slow. And due to this, and also our poor quarantine protocols, COVID spread over a large area. But you can see definitely there was a difference in the death toll between the COVID and the last epidemic we ever had because of our improved knowledge about diseases. So the next time we have quarantine or we have a disease, the humankind is already working on making ourselves more resilient towards it. Like last week, there was a research about combining silicon engineering and biotechnology to be able to computationally model proteins for viruses so we can develop vaccines at a much quicker rate. So if we were to continue developing like this, soon diseases won't be as effective as they were back in the 1830s, back in the Spanish flu or the Black Plague. And eventually mankind will develop to become resilient to all of these.
Rohit.
Okay, so I think that the COVID pandemic has really had an impact on all of our lives, positive and negative. It's really tested our basic principle of the human, which is the survival of the fittest. Our survival traits was tested to the limits by COVID. We needed to develop vaccines and a cure, and we needed to mitigate the effects of the contagiousness of this disease as it had spread all over the world, and it had an impact on every single person's lives. And due to this effect, we had to develop vaccines and really try to reduce the effect of this disease. And previously, as we have seen in the rat plague, it took millions of lives all over the world. And this was long before human evolution had really reached the level that we are currently. And through this pandemic breakout, we've learned a lot. And using the learnings that we have currently, I think it would be a task for us to quite mitigate the effects of a future pandemic and not allow that to happen. It would be very doable for humankind.
Shiven.
Currently, we are still fighting COVID because of the mutations of COVID. There are still many mutations of COVID, and there are still deaths, but they are still in small numbers. And I think there will be a pandemic in the near future also because of these mutations of COVID, and we might be able to suppress it quite fast this time due to the learning of the previous pandemic. and the fast pace of evolution of the vaccine formation is the technologies are increasing very rapidly, and like currently for organs there are 3D printing 3D printers for organs, and yeah, that's it.
Sriansha.
So with the COVID-19 pandemic, we all definitely had a lot of time to reflect, and we were all spending time at home. But although the origin of the virus is still quite murky, it does go to show that viruses and viral infections can mutate quickly, and this is even seen with other past viral infections, how they usually started from animals and then begun to mutate and infect humans. And I think it just goes to show that nature will always put up their biggest tasks for their strongest soldiers, and maybe Mother Nature believes that that's humans, and it will continue to push us to always break the boundaries and always come out with new inventions and vaccines.
Manthreesh.
So, in my opinion, just like how Rohit said, COVID has brought up positive and negative changes in humanity. For example, due to COVID, we all were at home, and then our environment has got cleaner and better. And then after this, we have improved in fields like biotechnology and AI. For example, we have Google DeepMind. It's an AI research which has been used in medical fields for simulating 3D protein structures. And we have improved in biotechnology too. Using this, we can overcome any pandemic in the future because we are learning again. And as even Shiven said, there might be mutations of COVID. Pandemics might strike again in the next decade. Yeah.
Kashyap.
So I think that COVID, it showed us how connected we are as a species. Like if you think about it, the virus originated in China, and within about a week, it had already gone all over the globe, right? And I guess that was also foreshadowing to show how connected we are, and how if even one country that we depend on falls, the whole world will like take a huge hit. I guess like if you think about like Russia and the Russia-Ukraine war, we didn't realize how connected we were until Russia stopped supplying, say, gas to Germany, and millions of people started freezing to death, and the German government had to spend a large amount of money to import other fuels to say keep homes warm. So I think COVID was a good reminder to say that maybe we need to calm down a bit and slow down and think what the consequences of some of our actions can be, and to stop thinking about everything with just money as the main motivating factor.
Yeah, so like Gauri said, I would like to add on to the fact that COVID was basically a result of human experimentation, and it mutated really fast, which was also due to, a major part of which can be attributed to our large use of pharmaceutical drugs, which create a resistant strain. And so increased advancements in the vaccination and biotechnology field are what actually helped us like find a vaccine for COVID. And these advancements are still going on. Like Manthreesh said, Google DeepMind came out with an AI tool called Alpha Genome, which can be extensively applied in biotechnology. It can help you find particular mutant sequences and also generate 3D models of proteins. And only yesterday there was this news of a new news in like the vaccination field. A university in Florida came up with an mRNA vaccine which can potentially cure all types of cancer, but research is still going on in that field. Yeah, thank you.
Done? Okay. Now, one word of caution. You should answer the question. You should attack the question. Otherwise, you have a lot to talk about. They are very valid. But what is the relevance? Okay? Now, Rashmi would like to ask you.
Namaste everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all to make it this far, to make it to the panel. I went through your project description and I must say that I'm thoroughly impressed and by the fact that all your projects they have touched upon different realms and different areas of science. So if we have to kind of list down these realms or the areas, it would be space, ocean, and then I think human body, then of course climate and environmental systems, right? So I want to learn from all of you that if you have to tell me that in the next decade, one realm which could be possibly have like a groundbreaking or a very transformative breakthrough. Which realm do you think that would be and why? Do you want me to repeat the question or the question is clear? Yeah? Okay.
Kashyap.
So recently, over the past decade, our energy needs have skyrocketed. Every year we need more and more electricity, and because of climate change, we've also become aware of how there are negative consequences to burning large amounts of coal and fossil fuels. So I think in the next 10 years, there's going to be a breakthrough in nuclear energy in some form, be it fission or fusion. And because the plain numbers just show how efficient it is, and I think in the next decade we'll also be able to debunk many of the myths about radioactive waste and how it's actually not that scary and it's really easy to contain, and it's being done. A good example of this is France, which has already started making breakthroughs. Currently over 73% of their energy is nuclear powered, and I think the decline in nuclear energy plants will also reverse, and we'll start to see a more clean future that will be able to power the next generation.
Arhan.
In my opinion, the advancements in the next upcoming 2-3 decades would be really groundbreaking in the field of biotechnology, because our understanding of the human body is increasing day by day, and this field is under constant research because generally we basically want to understand how everything works, and understanding ourselves can be the base for all of that. And only recently there was a study in IISc about detection of liver cancer. So they used it was a study based on luminescent probes using terbium, and terbium is a rare metal which glows greenish blue in the presence of beta glucuronidase, which is an enzyme which can potentially detect liver cancer. So advancements in this field are really increasing, and yeah, I think this is going to be the field with most groundbreaking discoveries.
Shiven.
So I think the realm that will have a groundbreaking discovery is the aeronautical realm. Currently, they're developing an all-electric jet engine, which runs on pure electricity and no fuel. This can change the whole world by reducing carbon emissions by 20%. The basic structure of how the electric jet engine works is that they send microwaves into air, which ionizes the air and turns it into a combustible substance called plasma. This plasma basically combusts and replaces the fuel. So you're basically converting air into fuel. And the current limitation of this development is the amount of power needed. There's a huge amount of power needed and millions of watts. And currently we don't have a battery small enough to fit in a plane that can supply that much power. And I think this can change.
Got it. So the realm which I believe will also revolutionize science is biotech. Because biotech is able to touch upon so many fields apart from just biology. Recently, I read an article about biodegradable batteries, and this has become a need of an hour because of poisoning in landfills and sustainability in our environment. And not only is it helping with solving current needs of vaccines and drug delivery, but also it is helping with solving our environmental issues, like helping animals and saving species. So because it's able to touch upon so many aspects other than biology, I feel biotech is the revolutionary field. Veda.
Arhan and Gauri both mentioned biotechnology, but I think it will be in human health science, not just in the next decade, but continuously throughout human history. We have been most interested in health science. So recently I actually read about, it was a 1.5 week old article about how there has been an IVF baby, actually 8 IVF babies, born through the genetic material of 3 people instead of 2. So this actually elucidates the point that humans are constantly interested in their cells, and we are trying to understand exactly what happens where in our body. So I feel like also due to the past COVID-19 strains and the SARS-CoV epidemic, there have been increased both in biotechnology and in health science. I think they are very intricately interrelated. The number of vaccines being produced, people are starting to think about the new types of genetic mutations within the diseases and within the viruses itself. So they started developing vaccines for these potential causes and for current diseases. And I think Arhan or Manthreesh mentioned about cancer and the cancer cure. That also has been a pressing issue, and I think that will also hopefully be mitigated within the next decade.
So the realm that I think will be the most groundbreaking in the next 10 years is space exploration and colonizing space. Going back to the first question, space exploration is truly a groundbreaking sphere because we've barely scratched the surface of exploration all over the universe. Thinking about the sheer size of the Earth in itself, we have explored and discovered so many things, and discovering more things all over the universe. And thinking back to when Neil Armstrong first set foot on the moon, nobody thought it would be possible for a man to go outside the universe using a rocket and setting foot on the moon, which we just see when we're just walking around. We see a big bulb in the air, and we wonder how is it possible to even make it there. And we've seen SpaceX testing technology of rockets launching and being able to land back on space and being able to conserve energy and working on the nuclear emissions and the carbon footprint that the rockets have had on us. And through future development, I think it would be really possible for humans to set foot in space and explore and be able to colonize other planets and the universe.
Avneesh.
I would like to preface my answer by saying that I don't think there's just going to be any one field that develops the most over the next couple of decades. It's going to be everything, whether it be artificial intelligence, biotechnology, metamaterials, or even warfare. Whether it be good or bad, everything is going to eventually develop. But if I had to choose one, I would choose quantum computing. Because every day I see new news about how quantum computers are becoming more efficient and how they're leaving classical computers behind in the past. And just like how Gauri said, quantum computing is the one field that I think that would disrupt not just itself or its own field, but would affect all the other fields surrounding it as well. One such example I would like to draw from would be recently professors at the University of Pennsylvania found a method to use quantum mechanics and quantum computing to derive a more precise method of timekeeping. and that would only elevate the preciseness by a very, very minute amount. But that small development allowed students at another university in America to develop lasers, or to try and develop the concept that a laser that could, from Earth, bend metal sheets in space to create solar arrays that would also create renewable energy. So just seeing how such small developments could lead to such big changes from one field excites me at the thought of what quantum computing and quantum mechanics holds for us in the future.
Manthreesh.
So if I had to choose a field which is going to have groundbreaking advancements in science, it has to be AI, because now when we invest and research on AI, not only AI develops, but the integration of AI in other fields will also be helpful. And basically when you integrate AI with other fields, the researchers, they have when you integrate AI with more fields, you can be more diverse, you can explore more, and with the assistance of artificial intelligence, we can develop other fields too. So if we invest in research on AI, not only it's useful for that particular field, but also for other fields like biotechnology, space exploration, etc.
So, like my fellow analyst said, I think there's multiple fields that will show development in the next decade, whether it be biotechnology or AI. But I think another aspect to it that we can also consider is that as we go through the decade and there's more use cases and it's being more widely used, it's also going to reflect in environmental conservation, or basically it's going to go on to become more safe to the environment. Like right now with AI, I believe that with its use, we also emit carbon dioxide, and it also uses a large amount of water. But in the future, with more use cases and with it being used more, it will turn to become more environmentally, like it will have more thought of the environment in it, and yeah, become more safe to the environment.
All done? Gentlemen?
It is always very wonderful and nice to listen from you, as Sir said. It's very enriching for all of us. Since all of you, I see you as young mind, young scientists, who probably some of you aspire to become a scientist and do something for our world or mankind. So I want you to think about if you could collaborate with a scientist, current or historical, for a project, your current project or your future project. Who would be, what project with, and why? I just wanted to say, with Sir's permission, if in case you are aware of a current project which you are intrigued but you don't know the name of the scientist, or it is a group of scientists, you can say that also, you can state that also. That is also fine. Are you all, you understood the question?
Shambhavi may be following some scientists.
Rohit.
The scientist who I would like to collaborate with, he's a past scientist and has already passed away, but I think his genius is truly unmatched in the realm of science, and he is Isaac Newton himself. Isaac Newton is one of the most influential figures in the name of physics. He has come up with almost every single principle that physics uses. He came up with with calculus just to prove his theories, and he came up with the laws of motion, and most of our understanding of the universe runs with the principles that Isaac Newton has come up with, and we owe a lot to him. And I think if I had to work on a project alongside him, I would work on the transportation system which is present in the world, which my project is also aiming to do, which was the magnetic levitation train. And I think he could help propel that system, and using his thought process and my thought process combined, we could truly influence the realm of physics and understand the nature of the world's principles and delve deeper into these concepts.
Arhan.
So if I had to work with like a group of scientists, it would probably be the team at IISc who developed that cure or discovery of which can potentially like detect hepatic cancer, that team, and the one in the University of Florida which came up with like a potential cure for cancer in the form of an mRNA vaccine. Because these teams are further advancing into the realms which I'm really interested in, like biotech. And my main goal for my project in MNL was to cure beta thalassemia, and that causes around 60 deaths a year. But apart from the deaths, it's also really like it's a compromised life, and you need to be on constant meds. And my project, my project involved actually addressing that issue, and working with these teams would like I think really help boost my performance and also enhance the parts of my project which have some disadvantages.
Shiven.
I don't think they are really scientists, but I would like to work with the Wright brothers as they created one of the most innovative things I have thought of. They led to the discovery of planes, and they have also led to the most wide-body airliner, the Boeing 777X, one of the most largest and powerful airliners in the world. And with their thought, I think we can do greatest things like create an all-electric jet engine, or create even bigger planes, even bigger than the Antonov 225. And I think we will work. Okay.
Manthreesh.
So if I had to collab with a group of scientists, it would be from Neuralink, because my project is very much related to Neuralink. Neuralink, what they do is they're developing a brain chip interface for people who are paralyzed, but mine is for autism. So what I would like to do is I would like to collaborate with them, and I would like to improve my own project with them. They're known a lot for their BCIs for paralyzation, and I would like to collaborate my brain chip for autism with them and improve it.
Gauri. I was impressed by the work of Dr. Yamanaka. He's the current scientist, and his work involves converting differentiated cells back into induced pluripotent stem cells. So imagine when we are born as stem cells. So we grow and those cells differentiate to form like muscle cells, tissue cells, and convert. Like it was thought as impossible to convert it back into stem cells. So now that we have, Sir has discovered a way to convert differentiated cells back into stem cells, it's the possibilities are endless. We can stimulate those stem cells in environments and create do experiments on them which we would initially require humans to do so. So this saves lives, and the possibilities are endless. So Kashyap.
I would like to work at a fusion reactor in France, which is a culmination of over 70 different countries' efforts and scientists, all of whom are extremely talented, and they're literally pushing the boundaries of energy innovation by creating the world's first ever fusion reactor. Now, the boundaries, if we do manage to pull this off, our civilization will be catapulted extremely far into the future, because energy will no longer become a resource, it will become something that everyone has access to, like air. And I feel like being there with all the scientists from 70 different countries and working together, it really showcases how we are as a civilization, working together to achieve a common goal for our species rather than country or other such imaginary boundaries.
Veda.
My answer would actually be a group of scientists from the United Kingdom who were currently working on the 3 people having children with 3 people's DNA by the method of IVF. It is actually a recent discovery. It was 2 weeks ago where I read the article and it was published then. They actually were targeting this due to the problems in the mitochondria of the mother. So she had a mitochondrial disease which was had an 80% chance of being passed on to her child. So they fertilized another donor's egg along with the father's sperm, and then once the egg had developed into a blastocyst, they started removing the donor's DNA, but keeping the mitochondria and putting in the other DNA from the baby's actual mother into that, so to reduce the chances of the child getting impacted by the mitochondrial disease, because this is actually a pretty serious disease and it affects all of the cells' ability to make energy. And 8 successful babies have been produced, 1 set being twins from 7 mothers. And they did not actually have any problems with the mitochondria, though I think 3 children did have small other problems. Like one had a small tumor in the brain which was removed, and 2 other ones had also some other minor complications. But other than that, as of now, their mitochondria have not shown any problems. So I think I would be really interested in this field to work with them, and I feel like I could potentially, with my limited amount of knowledge as of now, hopefully help them out and work with them if I was given a chance.
Sriansha.
So if I could choose to work with a scientist from the past or present, I would choose to work with Marie Curie. Her discoveries in microbiology truly are very fascinating. And one more thing that I really look up to her for is because being a woman back in those days, it wasn't easy for her, and she really broke the barrier, and she's the reason why girls like me get to come and take a stand today, especially in STEM. So yeah, I would like to work with Marie Curie.
Avneesh.
With all the exciting research that's going on right now, it's hard to choose just one team to collaborate with. But if I were to have to, I would choose between Cornell University's team and a team at the University of Melbourne. At the University of Melbourne, they're actually working on combining physics-based models and quantum computing to create an artificial intelligence model that could not just predict future events based on markers in our history, but also possible natural calamities in our future. Now, not only does this mark a revolutionary moment in mankind and a huge leap in our scientific achievements, but it is also just a glimpse into what we could achieve with quantum computing one day. As for Cornell University, if I got to work with their team, they are developing some very revolutionary heterostructures when it comes to hybridizing metamaterials, which was actually the theme of my project. And working with them while they develop Z-type heterostructures or DSSC-type heterostructures would allow us to not just revolutionize public hygiene, but also space travel by helping create clean rooms at a fraction of the price. So being part of any one of these teams would be an honor. And
That's very interesting. Also, I'm tempted to share who I would like to work with.
Yes, sir. Please. Yes,
Okay?
yes, sir.
Anybody wants to guess? No guess.
Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein? Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to work with all of you scientists. I'm not joking. I'm quite serious about it. Now we come to the young scientist, to a scientist who is 1 year older, and we'll see what her experience has been, and if you would like to ask the question to them. Go ahead.
So, if you were at the brink of a new discovery, what would you prioritize, scientific innovation or scientific ethics?
if I was at the brink of a discovery, I would slightly prioritize scientific advancement more, because ethics will be applied after the advancement comes in, and ethics are a major part. But if I'm on the brink of a discovery, I would prioritize the advancement more, because it would really help on later, and ethics would be add on later to this, but yeah, I would prioritize advancements more.
Avneesh.
To me, if I were on the brink of a scientific discovery, it's not about prioritizing one over the other, it's about striking a balance between the two. Because as a scientist, it's a duty or a responsibility for you to draw a line which you will not cross when you're making a scientific achievement. It is, and the line may vary for different people, but it is important to have that line. You cannot prioritize one over the other. In my opinion, my line is drawn at where we bring back sentient beings. For example, I think all of us know about the de-extinction of dire wolves right now and how they're planning on bringing back woolly mammoths in the future. As Stanford's law ethics professor, Professor Greeley, said, it is very complicated to treat them, because now that we are bringing back sentient beings, it's also in the picture to bring back hominids, or our ancestors. And there's no rules or regulations for how we treat them, because we know how we treat research animals, but how do we treat people that we brought back from the past? So it's just dealing with bringing back sentient beings, or even making completely sentient neural networks and artificial intelligence is where people need to be really careful, and where I would draw my line on ethics, because that's the most important part that I believe in.
Manthreesh.
So if I were at a brink of discovery, I would first prioritize on innovation, because that's the key to bring your solution to the peak. And then after that, I would prioritize on the ethics. I would ethically refine my solution, and it would be better for the society to use. For example, BCI is brought by Neuralink. First, it was developed for the brain, and then it had to be tested on animals and made, and it had to be ethically refined more. So first you innovate it, and then you ethically refine it. It's like going step by step, not like mixing them together at once.
Gauri. To me, safety is first, because no matter how good your discovery is, if the discovery goes like into the wrong hands or has effects that I am not aware of, it would create a catastrophe. So safety is first, and then I look at ethics, because I don't want my discovery to be publicized before it has been tested and tried for countless amount of times. Because even discoveries which were made 100 years ago, the new impacts are being shown in recent studies. My teacher told me we have invented our smartphones, but we are only finding out the effects of radiation in our progeny. So I want my innovation to be safe, and unless I am at least 99% sure, I do not want to spread it to the public. Kashyap.
For me, science is about making lives better for others, and in the process of doing so, if I end up harming lives, I'm going against what is science to me, and I feel like that's morally just wrong. And I understand that all science has two sides. When Fritz Haber did the Haber process and managed to get ammonia, he was not aware of how it would be used in bombs. He was only thinking of, say, its uses in agriculture. But at the same time, I think it's important that as scientists, we all look towards having a future where our science is used for the better and for saving lives. And we should stick to our morals and not go against what's fundamentally wrong. Science as a subject is to push the boundaries and make lives more fun and better. And yeah, I don't think it's right to go against that when you want to implement it.
Veda.
I think for this question, you actually have to look at what exactly science is. Science is basically asking questions and breaking boundaries and finding out new things about things that possibly already exist, or probably make more things if you feel like an ample amount of information isn't already present. So for me, I think this answer would really depend on what exactly I'm working on. But I think, as most of the other panelists mentioned, I would probably draw a line between innovation and ethics. But in theory, it sounds like really doable and really manageable. But I feel like if somebody, I feel due to my work ethic, I think I might, if in case it isn't too unethical or anything, I might slightly prioritize scientific innovation more than ethics. And I think I would finally, once I review my work, once I feel like I've finally gotten what I wanted, and if I once go to review my work, and then I think I would keep the ethics in the back of my head, and that is what I would mainly review my work for.
Shiven.
I think, like Avneesh said, we should keep a balance between ethics and innovation. Like, suppose the creation of hydrogen bombs, they are very powerful and can destroy a whole country in like seconds. And also, like Elon Musk said, he would put a nuke on each pole of Mars to create an atmosphere on it. But that would also keep radiation in Mars. And so yeah, I think we should keep a balance between ethics and innovation, just so that.
Sriansha.
So I have first-hand experience when people tend to draw the line between ethics and scientific breakthroughs. So my mom is a clinical researcher, and she's in the past told me about how clinical research trials happen and about how they do animal testings and then they go on to test on humans. And that's obviously put them in the hot pocket when it comes to ethics. And so now recent scientific discoveries have been shown that they could test drugs or medicinal drugs on individual cells or a cell culture. And so I think with ethics, once we're implementing them, we can help create new ways to make our scientific breakthroughs better. So,
I think the answer to this question is very variable as to where you draw the line on ethics and innovation. In some cases, ethics is always a really important part of scientific innovation. And we've seen back in the World War times, in the Nazi concentration camps, where they used to really unethically test and experiment on human beings, which is completely breaking the boundaries of ethics and should not be done ever in the future. But also, scientific innovation is really important, as science is a service to humankind, and it should not bring harm upon the humans, and it should just help propel humans to another level and aid life and help humans to survive, essentially. And experimenting and innovating upon humans is where I would draw the boundary, and causing any sort of harm. But sometimes scientists may not realize the effect that their inventions might have on the populace. Like, for example, the invention of the atom bomb. J. Robert Oppenheimer was not truly aware of the extent that he would destroy the human population. Only after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bomb droppings did he realize that he really regretted what he had done, and he realized the extent of the impact that his invention had had. And I think innovation should be prioritized, but ethics should be maintained, and a strict lines must be drawn and a balance must be made, as Avneesh said very rightly.
Okay, we'll have one more round, and we are all talking about ethics and innovation. I want to extend that a bit. Current day science or tomorrow's science, what would be the implications with reference to the fields I am listing now? Just think about the implications or improvements or problems in the areas of social, cultural, economical, philosophical, anything you take about human life. What do you think would be the improvement or the challenges? For example, if you take science and economics, what would happen? Science and biological, which you are talking about. Think of realms which you are not addressed. What would happen to philosophy? What would happen to any area that you would like to address? Got a point? Any doubt? Good doubt. Okay, go ahead. Take the mic.
Is it that we have to talk about the effects of science on that realm? Or
Yes,
science,
exactly.
like discoveries?
Would it be the realm of research we took during our projects or any realm?
Obvious fields you leave it. Like research, science and research, you can't really differentiate it. Take life as such. Maybe non-science areas, let's put it like that.
So a question. So we have to talk about the impact of science on a non-science field.
Yes.
Yes.
Veda.
I feel like science cannot really be isolated because science is everywhere. You are science. The air you're breathing is science. The atmosphere, the space, oceans, the land, everything is science. So I think impact of science is everywhere, and really it has to be explored how much science is present in each field. Thinking of human philosophy, I feel like science has started to I think this is touching upon ethics as well, but we have started, especially with plants, we've started making genetically modified crops which are resistant to droughts, resistant to insects. And so I feel like this really is drawing a line in philosophy, because what if they start this with humans and suddenly you're making clones, suddenly you're making things that should not have been made, because really you're advancing. Take the example of the plant again. The plant has evolved over a course of millions of years in the hands of Mother Nature, and suddenly you're taking it into a lab, you're genetically modifying it, and suddenly it has show some other properties within the span of maybe, let's say, a few months, which it has not developed over millions of years. And I think this has multiple aspects to it, a multifaceted question, and this really has to be thought of before we go forward with other things which happen. And this also very much touches upon into scientific ethics and how far we can go before we go too far.
Sriansha.
So I think STEM and the economy have shown they kind of reflect upon each other. I feel like in school we're told that from 11th we have to separate the two topics into commerce and science, but they really are more integrated than we think. We can see entire economies being based off of the companies inside certain countries. Like take South Korea for example, the entire country's economy is mostly based on Samsung and the technological breakthroughs that Samsung has. And even if we look in the past, chemical and biological warfare have also impacted the economy greatly. So I believe that the economy and STEM do show a clear reflection in each other, and most of the time we overlook it a lot, especially science students. We think we definitely made the right decision by not taking commerce, but they do reflect upon each other and they kind of go hand in hand in today's world.
So for me, science and non-science fields, up to a point, they would go hand in hand. But after you push that barrier, maybe increasing advancements, overly done advancements in science could compromise on philosophical ideals and religious beliefs. And this would also be ethically wrong, as you're basically forcing your opinion, the scientific opinion, upon people who have different beliefs.
Manthreesh.
Yeah, and agreeing with what Arhan said, that we shouldn't, scientific advancements can be expanded to a limit, but after that you're breaking the ethics for science. You're not supposed to force everyone to agree with the fact, because everyone, they even have their emotional side, their own beliefs. So I think we can expand it to a limit in non-science fields, but after that I think it won't work out well.
Avneesh.
Just like Sriansha said, it's very apparent that science can affect our economy. But I would like to focus on how science affects us psychologically and culturally. Because for the longest time, since Plato and Socrates, they've all been developing their theories of philosophy on what we do not know and what we cannot explain. Like back then, Plato used to talk a lot about the concept of nothing, which we now quantify as zero. And the idea that science could clarify these questions and change how we perceive the world, while also creating new questions that we have to ask ourselves about, is a very apparent and innate part of science. But then there's also the areas like where it affects us culturally. As people, as we develop over time, we start to perceive the world in a different way. Even the Big Bang Theory, which gave a lot of people a new way to conceptualize how the universe started, we saw a large amount of defection from religion to atheism. And allowing people to see the world in a different way is also a very, very important concept that makes up a huge part of science. And that's something we should not ignore.
Kashyap.
So with the rise of quantum computing, I think it almost rivals the complexities of the brain. So in the near future, when we're able to say uplink or like transfer the consciousness into a computer, you start to think about the ethics of that and how are we really what we think, because our personality is what makes us us, right? And if you're able to transfer that into a system that say doesn't die, do we become immortal then? Or what happens to the body after that? And I feel like that really questions everything that we stand up for, because as humans, we've always had one thing that's been constant, the fact that we are alive, and at some point we end up going back to where we started, we die. So if you're able to finally say, uplink our consciousness onto something, do we finally transcend past human beings? Do we become something else? Or are we still human? So like, I feel that's the question that most of us will have to answer in the future.
Shiven.
I think I will combine science and war politics. Yeah. Like if the US is planning to use pure drones for their army, where one pilot controls thousands of drones, and it would significantly reduce life loss, and it would significantly increase the strength of the army, as you can have millions of drones in just with 100 people. And like previously there were biological warfares, and Japan used non-ethical ways to test their viruses and bacteria. They used it on a bunch of bacteria from a plane onto thousands of people in a field, and that was just very non-ethical.
Rohit.
So I'd like to talk about the implications of science on philosophy, life, and humanities. So like Kashyap mentioned, brain chip technology has been tested, and humans are trying to store their knowledge and their sentience inside of a chip. And that's toying with the concept of immortality and really makes us question what a human really is. And philosophy teaches us to question everything around us. And through science, we seek to answer these questions. And that's what's really pushing the development of science. And we question where we come from and what we are truly. Because we just appeared, and we have no idea what we serve to do or what purpose we have. And through science, we seek to answer such questions, such as how the universe truly came to be, which no one really knows the answer to currently. The Big Bang Theory and many such other theories have been proposed, but we seek to find the answers to such questions and truly understand the world and the universe and seek a deeper meaning and find satisfaction within our lives as human beings.
Gauri. I also believe that science would impact philosophy, because whatever we are inventing right now, if our ancestors saw it, they would consider it to be black magic. And back then, the innovations which scientists made were also controlled by socially accepted standards. Now, when we have no such socially accepted standards because the world is changing so much, how exactly do we define what we want to do and what we want to achieve? So, with philosophy being so vague and contradictory, science is also pushing it to its limits, and this is why I think philosophy will change completely.
So could I add on a point to my answer? I think a lot of us mentioned culture and science. I think in a lot of countries they go interlinked with each other. I'm elucidating an example from the past, but I'm pretty sure all of you know about quantum physics. Erwin Schrödinger was a scientist, a very notable scientist who laid down a lot of fundamentals of quantum physics. And at that time, what he was discovering scared him so much because it was so against what was known in science and in culture that he gave up the pursuit of quantum physics and he started writing biology papers. So during his lifespan, he was more known for his biology papers, his biology research, than he was for laying down the entire basics of quantum physics. So I feel really science is really dependent on culture and social stigmas as well. And also it goes the other way around. Science can also help break social stigmas and help break culture which is very rigid.
I asked this question only because scientific minds should not dehumanize science. It is human beings you are doing. And for your kind information, you know Charles Darwin. We all study evolution and so many things. You know what was he professionally trained for? He was trained to be a pastor. Should have been working in the church. He studied theology. But you see what he ended up doing. Anyhow.
Very interesting answers and concepts you have. So this is an unofficial round. Yeah, so unofficial round, so you can feel free to answer the way you feel.
Pressure.
So there is no pressure to answer. But I really like the way you guys are connecting science to economy, science to philosophy, and but what happens to the relationship between science and socio-economic status of the currently poor countries? Like, how do you think the science will have an impact in Africa, for example? Of course, for a long time, India has been a very poor country, but now we are into a developing world, and a lot of sciences, you can see the impact of science in India. The way you have access to internet, the way you are able to articulate things is very good. But now look at the countries like African poor countries. So how do you think science will reach those countries, and what kind of impact can science have, and how will it elevate the lives of the people in Africa? As an example, it could be any other country, but I just to say it could be any other poor country that can get elevated.
Yeah, so in Rwanda, there's a company called Zipline. So essentially, it has managed a completely integrated drone delivery system to provide rural poor hospitals with important medicines and blood. So the way it works is that it uses technology that's usually used on aircraft carriers that are used to, say, propel jets to immediate cruising speeds, to essentially save a large amount of energy and to travel large distances. Single-handedly, this company has reduced the mortality rate of children in its radius by around 65%. And this really shows that if we work together, we can really affect the lives of who's near us with science. And that company has also inspired a lot of people in Rwanda to continue to research and to continue to like pursue their passion in science to one day help others in their country. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's everybody on. Whoever is ready, you can go ahead.
I think we're kind of stepping into some tepid water with this question. But I feel that especially for the poorest of the poor countries, not saying that any country is poorer or less richer, but looking at the current economic situation, there is sadly the discrimination between this. I feel like science for such countries, especially which are underdeveloped by this current standards, science could be used to provide basic human services like healthcare, education, teaching people the value of what they're learning instead of just telling them to memorize a textbook. Well, learn this formula. They won't be able to connect what is happening. They need to understand the value of the education they're learning and say how exactly it helps in their daily life, how it will help them out in the future, how it will help them understand what is wrong and what is right. I feel like doing such basic acts, which are considered basic for us, but would be considered very advanced, very high helpful for such countries, would be possible using science in such countries.
So the basic purpose of science is to help us advance as a community, and in that community, like ma'am said, there will be discrimination on the basis of socio-economic status, and science can be harnessed to improve these socio-economic conditions and especially grow as a whole. So that's the basic purpose of science. And if it can be harnessed for these, like in countries like Africa, for example, water scarcity is a problem in Africa, and harnessing science can be like a way to overcome that. Yeah, that's my point.
I think the difference between a developed and an undeveloped country or underdeveloped country would be when the advent of science and technology was. Countries like the US, the UK had the industrialization take place in the 19th or the 18th century, but in Africa that has yet to happen. So it's because they're rather preoccupied right now with their survival, the lack of water, food, the famines, all of these things. So in aiding them, providing them with the required technology to say filter water or create renewable sources of energy would then free them up to learn more about science, the world around them, and cultivate their own curiosity so that they can later develop their own technology and become a more developed country just like the others.
I think science can be very useful to help underdeveloped countries in many problems such as water scarcity and healthcare. But also one of the greatest sense of science is inspiration. It inspires the people around you to learn and to develop. Like if an influential scientist goes to a country in Africa and talks to them and explains the implications of science to them, the children there will be inspired and they want to help their country progress and develop. And science provides the strength of inspiration. Like looking at India's Chandrayaan missions, it has inspired millions of people all over the country and proven the strength of our country to us. And such developments in all underdeveloped countries will really strive to push forward the people and make them explore the true boundaries of science.
I feel like it's only a matter of time until when every country will progress in technology. Technology and scientific discoveries are directly proportional to their economic growth. Due to some historical unfortunate incidents, such countries haven't been able to grow, but it'll only take a few more years until they also come on par with every other country. Even the pressure that other countries are putting on those countries would also fuel their need to boost their
So I think at a basic level, science also helps us understand the world around us. So as an individual, science can help better the quality of life, whether it be what we consider as hygiene or how even nutrition, stuff like that is just a reflection of science, and that also affects not only like the country as a whole, but an individual's standard of life. And science helps us improve that, and yeah.
Yeah, before the next one talks, it is not that science can help or science can't help. It is human beings who are greedy, who become exploitive, who don't allow development. For example, why did the US bomb Japan? It's only greed, not real thing. In India, millions died in Bengal. It is not that we didn't have enough food. Whatever resources we had were taken out of the country. Naturally, we became poor and millions died. So always exploitation doesn't allow people to get what they deserve, what is theirs. So it is more than science, it is management and ethics that is going to play an important part. Yeah, are you ready with the results?
Ready? Yes. If you want to, you can say.
Have a question. Audience is answering. No, when you open the questions for the audience. Yeah.
It is truly commendable to witness such a thoughtful engagement with profound subjects like philosophy and life from minds so young. As we await the final results, we now open the floor to the audience for any questions directed to our panelists. Behind every curious question and a brave step forward, there is a parent who believed first. Now may I request the parents to pose any questions. Or any quick question from any student from last year panel? Yes.
So I'm not from last year's panel here, but I had this question that was burning in my mind even while you were all talking. What is one fact that has fascinated you to the point that you would like to work on it, like on a project or work on it to further use that fact to help people or any stream in any part of science?
So while researching for my round 2 project, the main reason I chose HIV/AIDS was because my teacher happened to mention that there is a mutation in the world that exists, and that those people are essentially immune to AIDS. I never really thought much of it until I was told that I got selected for round 2 of MNL. Then I slowly had to come up with an idea, and initially I just chose it because it seemed like something that I would gain more knowledge on for my subject, or for me, help me write boards or help me do better in my competitive exams. But now, going more and more and learning about CRISPR-Cas9 and learning about how HIV infections work, it's something that truly fascinates me. And even though in the future I do ideally want to do MBBS and graduate and become a doctor, I would want to at some point in my life work with CRISPR and work on gene editing technology.
We can take another response if anyone's ready.
If anyone is ready, it's okay.
Not exactly related to what I've mentioned before, but the fact that it's a really small fact. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but medicines are basically using the word drugs, and so all of these standard medical procedures, along with the ones which have negative effects, which are unwantedly labeled drugs, all of them have an impact on human beings. Some of these are positive. They can be used to alleviate pain. We take them as painkillers. Some of them could be used particularly for a disease. We use them as medicines. We take a course. We talk to a doctor for that. The fact that something so small can be detected, something like a small medicine, a small molecule of the medicine can attack or help your body in by fighting something as small as that. The fact that medicines exist, the fact that all of us are well now because we've probably taken at least one medicine in our life. We've probably gotten sick at least once, we've taken one medicine, we've gotten better. The fact that that is possible nowadays, the fact that that exists, it gives us a scope for a better life, that does really interest me. And I think that's why I am interested in pharmacology, I would say.
So I have a question based on the question our sir asked on space exploration. So you all mentioned evolution is a major part. So do you believe that neuroplasticity is also a major factor in our urge to explore space, and how important is neuroplasticity?
She's asking a question very much related to neurology or your brain. And I'll help you all by answering in one sentence. If at all we made breakthroughs, reached this stage, it's only because of our neuroplasticity. Okay? You all read more about it. Now, thank you so much. We have come to more or less the last round. When you look at a company, there are many people working at different levels. They always would wonder at the top management and sometimes blame them, sometimes understand them. The person who understands the management will go up. The person who blames them will remain where they are and keep cursing everybody else. Same thing applies here also. Those who are on the stage, they have reached that level because when they were sitting like you, they were exercising their brain, maybe more than the others. And when they are together also, there is a little bit of difference in how they approached the questions posed to them, and they would have got some points more, somebody else would have got some points less. We should be able to accept all these in our stride and move forward. What is the meaning of move forward? Learn from others. How did he or she get those points to get this prize? More than thinking, oh, I was better than that person and she got it, I did not get it. That doesn't help anybody. We are in the learning process. Look at your learning, what you can learn from the current situation and how you can improve yourself. More than judging, okay, that is correct, this is not correct. Anything can be judged. Okay? Do you understand what I am trying to get at? Same thing to all of you also. So whenever there is a competition, there may be only one person who wins. It doesn't mean the others lose. Maybe you also won, but you did not get to that point. Alright, you have traveled a lot. Continue with your journey. I am really very impressed with your thought process and hard work. And I also would like to share with you the definition of research. I think you all must have heard from me. Research is nothing but knowing more and more about what? Less and less. So as you progress, you define your area, you refine your area and concentrate more on specific things. If you are studying the ocean, you can't keep studying the ocean. You will go to smaller area, you'll focus on smaller things. That is the point of research. Keep that in your mind. That's why I said collaborative activity will help you. Okay, with all that, it's always nice to announce the winner. But before announcing the winner, I always consider our school as a winner. Because we are doing things which are going to make you somebody whom children of the future will respect. Like you're all talking about scientists, maybe in the future children will talk about you. Alright, that's our wish and our best wishes for that. With that, we'll come to the winner. May I request ma'am to give the certificate to him? It is Avneesh. Avneesh, would you like to say a few words? I don't think your heartbeat has gone up so much.
I'm very thankful to all the judges and all the people who helped me make this project, and I'm proud of myself for where I am right now. And while I was sitting there after the discussion was over, I did not know whether I was a winner or not, but I was 100% certain that this entire process had made me a better scientific mind and a better thinker. I'm thankful to all the teachers and sir and ma'am for organizing this.
Okay.
Thank you, Arhan. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Savi ma'am to please give away the certificates for the other participants. Manthreesh. Arhan. Gauri. Shiven. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Nandini ma'am to please felicitate the rest of the participants. Kashyap. Veda. Sriansha. And Rohit.
We now invite our chief guest, Dr. Chakshusmathi Ghadiyaram, to kindly share a few words with us. Your insights and encouragement will surely leave a lasting impact on our minds.
Namaste everybody. It has been a very, very great experience coming here. So I thank the teachers at GIIS, the chairman, and all the people who are here for giving me this opportunity to be present here today. Before I came here, I wasn't really sure what is it that is in store for me to see. But what I saw here was really amazing. So my kids have also completed their 12th and schooling and have passed these stages. I also feel that an introduction to science this way would have certainly benefited my kids as well. So a big appreciation to all the teachers for having this thought of introducing science to kids like this. The projects I have been I had a chance to go through the projects that the kids have done here. Very impressive the way they are able to present, the way they were able to think, connect to what is going on in the rest of the fields in science, and actually have these models in place to depict what they are doing. They are very So especially people like me who do the science in labs, I was able to connect to what these guys are thinking through, and I think that is a very good step forward for you to be able to come up with these models and be able to say what you want to say. Of course, there are areas that you have to improve upon, and as we heard today, collaboration is a very important aspect in every science, because as we also discussed, science has an impact at various levels. Science has impact on every field of work, every walk of life. So whether you work on economy, whether you are working on a company, whether you want to get into a space, you want to explore lives on other planets, nothing is possible by just one person's curiosity. Curiosity is important, then only you get into the field of science, you become a scientist. But just having the curiosity with you alone will not take you to where you want to be. So it's whether you be in academics or you be in industry, everywhere the collaboration is what is very crucial. So I guess I also like the idea of having these collaborative teams to begin with, which will also help them to maybe bring across different ideas and actually reach to the next level that will be required. So yeah, with this I would say all the best to all the participants. I work for a company in India, so at any point of time, if any of you are interested in doing some internships, small projects, you can be in touch with me, and we will see what we can do.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to all our winners and a warm round of applause for all our brilliant participants. Each one of you has showcased remarkable curiosity, commitment, and creativity. A special thanks to you, our chief guest, Dr. Chakshusmathi ma'am, for gracing us with her presence and wisdom. Our sincere gratitude to our chairman sir, principal ma'am, Savi ma'am, and entire leadership and academic team for creating this unique platform for our Gear Cubs to shine. To our parents, mentors, and over-enthusiastic Gear Cubs, thank you for being an integral part of the celebration of science and spirit. Thank you one and all.